Welcome to another episode of the Atheists Hangout. My name is Doka Soita. I am a proud atheist. Today, our topic is the limits of tolerance. The limits of tolerance. What inspired this topic choice? It was a discussion that I had with somebody who was claiming that a good society is one that is tolerant, is one that is plural, that it accommodates a diversity of ideas. And we, as atheists and skeptics, happen to hold very divergent ideas from what society in general, Kenyan society, believes. So, is there room for us in society? And where does society draw the line when it comes to divergent ideas? So, in order to guide the discussion, we will look at tolerance first and why it is a good thing. Then we will examine the limits of tolerance, the dangers of unlimited tolerance, unbridled tolerance. What would happen to a society if that were to occur? And then finally, we will look at how to balance this out. How do we set those limits, if at all? Because there might be some people here who think that we should tolerate everything. Society should just live and let live. So we will begin with the definition. I'll define it, and then I will toss the first question to the audience. Tolerance is a condition in which there are three parameters. The first one is that there's disagreement over certain things. There's disagreement about belief. It could be some philosophical ideas that you have. Maybe you believe that people should not get married. Others believe that they should get married. Maybe you believe that the genders, and they're not just two, there might be, there are several genders, that they are not equal, and that maybe men should be at the top of the hierarchy. That's an idea that somebody holds, you see. But others disagree with you. They say, no, all genders are equal. There's no gender that is superior to the other. Or when it comes to religion, some people believe that this God is the right God, is the true God. And then others say, no, this God is the true God. Then others, like us atheists, say there is no God. So that's the first quality necessary for tolerance. There must be disagreement on ideas. Secondly, is there should be power to act against the person who holds different views from you. Okay? That's the second quality that is necessary for tolerance. There should be power or capacity to act against the people who hold different opinions from yours. And third is the deliberate choice to avoid suppressing that different viewpoint. So in summary, tolerance is a condition in which people have different ideas. They disagree on different ideas. People have the capacity to suppress those individuals who hold different ideas, but they choose not to do so. Okay? It's when you allow for a plurality of ideas. That is tolerance in a nutshell. Now, I'd like to hear from you, members. Why do you think tolerance is a good thing? Why is it necessary?
My name is Pastor Stano, or Shepherd. I'm agonistic. So about tolerance, why tolerance is necessary is because if we don't have tolerance, the one will be, or the society will be chaotic, because each and every person have his own opinion or idea that contradict or oppose the other idea. So if we don't tolerate the other opinions, we will end up fighting or eliminating other people who are not having the same idea as us. That will cause a chaotic, and to reduce harm, we must have that tolerance to avoid causing any harm to the society.
My name is Charles Murioki. I'm a skeptic. Yeah, for me, I think tolerance is important because we're all human beings. So everybody has a right to believe what they want to believe. So everyone should be given the opportunity to have their views, as long as you don't harm anybody else, as long as no one gets harmed. Yes.
The nature of human beings is that they will always see things in a different way. We don't have the same experiences, we don't have the same contexts, we don't have the same goals. You know, we come from different angles. So how we perceive things will definitely differ. That's just the natural state of things. That's just how it will be. So if you tolerate those divergent ideas, it means that there will be freedom, there will be liberty, there will be peace in society, because nobody is trying to control or compel people to look at things in a certain way. Okay? So I think a tolerant society is one that we should aspire to. I think if you want to look at societies that don't, if you want to understand this concept, look at societies that don't have tolerance. And those are places where you can get beheaded for believing in a different faith, okay? Or you can be arrested for life. You can do life imprisonment because you don't, quote unquote, worship the dictator president. Yeah. So we don't want a society like that. A society that is extremely intolerant would be problematic, because there would be no freedom. And often, in order to enforce this one worldview, you would need violence. You would need to use force in order to make everybody toe the line. And that's not a society that you would want to live in. It's not a good society. Moving on swiftly, let's look at the limits of tolerance. Do we think that we should tolerate everything in society? What are the dangers of unlimited tolerance, a society that permits everything to occur? And if possible, give me examples of things that we should not tolerate.
There is a limit of tolerance because some ideas are very extreme that are dangerous to the society. For example, you may find a parent does not want to attend to or to seek for medical for the child, or it does not want the child to seek medication because his beliefs or his idea is against that. That goes to the death of a child or to a more serious disease. Such kind of thing, we should prevent it. We should not tolerate about those things. And that is why we find many governments, they try to enforce that, so that those extreme beliefs should not be tolerated, so that because they can cause harm to the society. Other things is like what we observe in the Mackenzie church, where the people were told to fast to death, and that is causing harm. Even if it's the beliefs, that belief is causing a lot of harm in our society. So those kind of the things we should not tolerate, or the government should not tolerate about them, because they are causing harm. So anything that is causing harm to the society should be eliminated. But the thing that is not causing harm, we should tolerate about them.
For me, I'll say like in Kenya, religion, okay, it's important to have religion. But at times you go to town, you find people are just making noise. They have a group of, they are preaching the religion, then they're making noise for everybody. So I wish I would be told that keep it in church. Don't come to town and make noise for people. Because some of us, we want silence. But that noise is like noise pollution. So I think a religion should be kept in churches. Yeah.
Okay, I hear you, Morioki and Stano. My question would be, would you then support the banning of the hijab? Because I remember, I believe it was Chillwave who was sharing content. There's a new country, there's a recent country that has banned the wearing of the hijab. Denmark. Yeah, Denmark. Is that intolerance in your view? Please answer that. Also consider this other question. What about ideas? What about free speech? Are there ideas that should be banned? Or should we allow everything? You see, Stano, you talked about harm. I'm thinking alcohol is harmful. Smoking, cigarettes are harmful. Should we ban them? Okay. What about junk food? Junk food is harmful. It causes obesity, which eventually leads to high blood pressure. Should we also ban that? Where do we draw the line? Yeah. So I've asked two questions in one. In fact, that latter question is related to the third subtopic. But let's start with that first one of banning the burqa. That particular country, okay, it's banned the burqa. The burqa is the one that comes up to here. Some people call it the ninja. But then there are others, like France, that ban the hijab, the one that is just for the face, but not covering your entire face, that only leaves out your eyes. Is that intolerance?
Okay, hi. So, like Stano has said, there has to be some, according to me, I feel there should be some limit to the tolerance levels that we have, because over and above religion in our society, we have the law, we have human rights, we have things that bring us together as a society. So since each religion has their own rules and regulations and culture, they have to also be in line with the overall good will of the people. Like if putting on, for example, the burqa, it could be allowed or even enforced by a certain religion, but in the larger scheme of things, you can look at security. And if we say security is being jeopardized, we cannot undermine security because we want to protect a small or even large group of people that are hiding behind religion. So if security it becomes a threat to everyone, because even those same people in religion are going to be affected by insecurity. And so I feel there should be a limit to tolerance and a limit to intolerance. They can be allowed to wear maybe long clothes if that is what their religion advocates for, but for their faces, they have to be identified for the sake of security. Yes.
We should look whether we can be able to identify, because like me, most of the time I wonder whether even the husband is able to identify his wife when he's among the other ladies, because they all cover leaving only the eye. So I think for the security purpose, we should be able to know a way that we can be able to identify them, and if they must wear, maybe we introduce something that can scan the eye and identify this is so and so for the security purpose.
Also, for the burqa, because you specifically mentioned, I think it's because from this group, we don't have ex-Muslims. I was trying to confirm what I thought was it. And burqa covers even the eyes. So on the eyes, unabaki na net. It's like a net. So even when I look at you, I can't tell if you have black eyes or blue eyes. So it's totally covered. It's just a mesh on the eyes. You can't see this person. So you can't tell if they are male or female, if they are a person you know or not. Yeah.
Maybe I'll be the devil's advocate, because we're in Kenya. In Kenya, is there a sign of any risk of security because of the burqa? Because in my view, in Kenya, there's no risk. So, no big deal. So, what do you guys think? It's okay in Kenya.
I can ask you a question.
Yeah.
What if a bad person come? Will you be able to identify the face of that person?
Has it happened? Has it happened yet? In Kenya? No, in Kenya, because of the burqa.
Yes, so many times.
The burqa, okay. I'm asking the burqa, the burqa. Not the burqa. Let's focus on the burqa itself. Is there a risk in Kenya?
We are asking what if it happen? How will we be able to identify?
Now you're a skeptic.
So for security reason, we look the probability and the possibility of the event that can come, because you cannot just say, is my room safe? Then I will not close it. You ask yourself, can a thief come? Probability for you to put a padlock.
Because what I'll say, like in Kenya, most criminals don't wear burqas. It's just people like you and me. So the burqa should be left alone in Kenya. There's no evidence.
What if they commit
burqa,
a crime? Will you be able to identify them?
Okay, we are skeptics and atheists. We need evidence.
That means you have the allowance because you are skeptic.
Yeah,
you know that can happen.
It can, it can, yeah. But is it happening in Kenya? Has it happened for us to be concerned? Is there a reason for concern?
Okay, we are making it too narrow. There's the other kind of garment that they wear, which it's not the net per se, but the niqab. Yeah, if the niqab, if you ban the niqab, that would apply in Kenya. We have a number. If you go to Isili, if you go to Northeastern, if you go to the coastal region, there are several women that wear the niqab. Yeah, and it is possible for a man or even a woman who says women don't commit crimes, to disguise themselves that way. So
that's true.
Yeah.
But no, but I'm saying as skeptics and atheists, we need evidence before you do something. We need to prove that it's happening.
No, there have been cases here and there
really?
of somebody who snuck in something in the airport under their buibui, under their whatever. So in those sensitive public spaces, it is a risk. It is a risk.
Yes.
By the way.
Yeah, but even I saw once a person. He was a man working in a house as a woman with a hijab. But that was the one. But most crimes are done by normal people, like who dress like you and me, not because of the burqa. Yes. Yeah, no, as in, leave Muslims alone. You need to leave Muslims alone with the burqa. Leave them alone. Because that's their thing from way back in the day.
No, okay. You see, you are narrowing the discussion as we are talking about any country where there might be a high number of Muslims. Or Muslim immigrants. Like now, those Scandinavian countries, it's gotten to a point where they have a lot of Muslim immigrants. So we are looking at that. Let's not just be that narrow. We are only focusing on Kenya and only the situations here. Let's look at the world. How do we create a good society? Because we learn from each other. You never know what will happen eventually. We will have that high Muslim. But we do, it's significant. 15% of the Kenyan population is Muslim.
Yeah, true.
You can't downplay it. Yeah. And they have been security risks.
But it's not, okay, in my view, it's not a big deal yet in Kenya because of the baka, my view.
There's a philosopher called Karl Popper who said, and I quote, "When tolerance tolerates everything, it promotes the intolerant." You see? It allows the intolerant people to reign supreme. This is what happened in Nazi Germany, where there was a group of people who decided that the Jews, actually, initially it was communists, and then the disabled, and then now the Jews. So they decided that certain categories of people don't deserve to live. They were the epitome of intolerance. So because society did not rein in on them, they were allowed to carry the day, and they destroyed that society, or at least that group of people. 6 million individuals is no joke. So this is the problem. When you tolerate extreme ideas, it gets to a point where you become, you face danger. You are in risk of being eliminated because you are too tolerant. So there should be a limit on tolerance. Now, on the hijab debate, I believe that Muslim women should be free to wear religious clothes. In the same way that I feel like I should be free to wear like a sleeveless top. You know, sometimes I might wear a crop top, I might wear something short. I have that freedom. They should also have the freedom to cover up. It's their choice. And they should also have the freedom to cover their hair. As a feminist, of course, I have objections to the double standard and the burden that is placed on women to placate men's sexuality. The burden should be on the observer, because they say you don't want to tempt men by letting them see your hair, your beauty, or your body. But you see, you're absolving men of responsibility and making them seem like ratting animals that cannot control their urges, and that is not the case. But that's a discussion for another day, and I think that should never come with forcing people not to wear the hijab. It should be a discussion that we have. Let's talk. Let me try and persuade these Muslim women and the Muslim men to not have this double standard, to instead work on their men who might abuse the beauty of women or take advantage of them. So I believe in persuasion rather than force. But if I'm not able to persuade them, well and good, let her wear her hijab. The hijab at least allows you to see who the person is and to hold them accountable in case of misbehavior, crime, etc. So I would not promote the banning of the hijab, but I would support banning the niqab or the burqa because of what the others have said, the security reasons. Now, let's proceed to the next question, which is actually the final one. How do we define this balance? How do we draw the line? And I had started with the previous question, which is, if we are looking at harm, as Stano was saying, let's consider harm. I could argue that smoking alcohol is harmful, so should we ban those? I could argue that fast food, junk food is harmful. Should we ban it as well? You know, somebody conservative like Morioki might even say premarital sex can lead to unwanted pregnancy or spreading of venereal diseases. Should we also ban it? Yeah, how do we determine where the balance is? Yeah. What is the limit for harm that we consider?
For me, I think when I talk about the harm, I was dealing with the idea that lead to action that will cause the harm. For example, I may believe God, for example, let's go to the religious. For example, I quote maybe the Quran that say, don't tolerate the non-religious people, but look for them wherever they are and slay them or kill them. So if I embrace that idea or that verse, that idea will cause me or will move me to go and cause harm by killing somebody or by jailing somebody or by implementing a law in a country that will imprison those people who don't follow our rules or our ideas. Those are the kind of the harm that I was talking about. And also what I was talking about, the Mackenzie. They have the idea that if you fast to death, you will meet Jesus. So it's an idea, but that idea cause a huge harm. But what about the alcohol? Alcohol we can be able to regulate the way even the government are trying to regulate. Don't drink and drive. So, and if you have to drink to become a drunkard, just try to do it when you are not moving or when you are at home, or drink less possible. So we are trying to reduce such thing because they are not causing a lot of harm, but they have a little harm, and we should be able to regulate them.
So Stano, the one on religion, when you're talking about, I'm presuming that is Islam, that punishes you for leaving the faith or speaking against the prophet. What you advocate is to ban that particular aspect or the religion that endorses it wholesale?
So I'm saying we should not tolerate that. Let those ideas be blocked from being implemented, like having a general human rights or human laws that will prevent the other idea to be more extreme to be implemented to others, not to harm the other people who don't believe you are around view. Yeah.
Like for me, what I'll say, I wonder about weed smoking. Because people say weed smoking is not as bad as cigarette. People say cigarettes are worse than weed smoking. But like in Kenya, weed is, if you're caught smoking weed, you're arrested. But smoking cigarettes is, there's tolerance for cigarettes. Yet people claim that cigarette smoke is worse than weed. So that, okay, that's just for discussion. That kind of, you wonder which way to go. Whether weed is it's the right thing to do or not. Because it's, even doctors claim that cigarette smoke does more harm than weed. But weed is banned and cigarette smoking is legal. So it's, you wonder which way to go. Okay.
But I think like bang is different from cigarette, because cigarette can cause harm in the lungs, but the bang cause harm in your brain. Even if it's not a permanent, it's a temporary hallucination, but that hallucination can cause you to do something that you regret later.
So you saying it's okay for weed to be banned and cigarette to be legal? You agree with that?
No, no, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I was trying to compare which is more harmful. So for cigarette, it's causing harm little by little. But for the like bangi or the other like cocaine,
No, cocaine hapana.
they
Cocaine is
trigger
bad.
the brain.
Cocaine is bad.
I think they function almost the same, but they trigger your brain and it can cause you to do something that is weird.
Cocaine is bad for sure.
Maybe you can even try to jump the river, thinking it's very narrow.
If we decide to ban or to criminalize something like drugs, certain drugs, are we considering the harm that you do to other people or even the harm that you do to yourself? You see, there are other people who willingly subject themselves to certain harms, even though they are aware of all the downsides. You see, for instance, like the BDSM people, you know, the masochists and the sadists. Yeah. No, the sadists inflict pain on others, while the masochists wants to feel pain. So that is harm that somebody is imposing on themselves. Even drug taking, this is harm that somebody imposes on themselves. Are we as a state supposed to protect somebody against themselves? Yeah? Or is that overstepping the tolerance limit?
For me, I think, like she mentioned, BDSM, I think the masochist suffers. And I think these masochists, they have mental issues. In fact, both of them, but the masochist has a mental issue, so they need help. So like for BDSM, I think masochism should be banned because the masochist suffers. Yeah.
There is different levels to pain, and some people really do enjoy the pain. It is not going to be banned. Some of us do enjoy the pain.
You like the pain? Is that normal? Is that normal?
Very necessary.
It's normal. Is that normal?
Very necessary, very important. Yeah, so there are different perspectives to sex. Sex is not the way other animals handle it. It's not about pouncing on the person, releasing your semen and getting out. Yeah, so there's different ways people have sex. You cannot say at that person they are not suffering. They want it. And you've heard words like harder. Yeah, they want it harder. And they're the ones who are saying they want it harder. You see, so they're enjoying what they're getting.
But Rich, what do I say? Some doctors say masochists have mental issues.
It's not a mental
They're saying harder, but something is not right somewhere. How is that?
It's not a mental issue. It's not a mental issue. People do enjoy certain levels of pain. Even things that are not sexual. There are people who enjoy things that are not sexual that are painful. Something as simple as tweezing eyebrows. It comes with some level of pain. Tattoos, it comes with a level of pain. Waxing. Waxing hair. Weightlifting, like and even generally, even exercising. It releases a level of dopamine. Yeah. So if you work out, you're doing those heavy things, it is painful, but there is some, there are people who have actually, what is it called? There are people who have had an orgasm while they were working out. Yeah, you feel the pain until you're like, oh my God, you know, it happens. Yeah. So these are usually for people who are serious about the BDSM thing, usually there are safe words to use between the couple that is engaging in this. So if the other person has told you to go harder and you're going harder and they've had their edge, like wamefika at the limit, there is what they can say for you to stop, and the other person will actually stop. Yeah.
Like Rachel, you mentioned working out. You see, working out, there are benefits. You see the body develops. You see muscles. You're flexible. But BDSM is like punishment. It's like this person is been punished. You've been punished.
I have been to the gym, and I think even if you have never been to the gym, you have seen videos of people at the gym.
Yeah.
Vile anakaza, do they look like they are like it's something soft? It's not a loaf of bread they are biting.
True.
These are heavy things they are doing, and they have built that muscle as a result of stressing their muscle. I don't know whether you know the science behind how muscles are built. Usually, when you work out or when you lift heavy things, there are some pieces of your fiber that tear your muscles. They tear certain parts, so you are actually feeling the pain. So there are those parts of your tissues that tear. And then when you go on rest mode, or when you're sleeping, or when you're resting kiasi, now your body tries to to repair those broken tissues. And when it is repairing, and then you keep breaking it, repairing it, breaking it, repairing it, it makes it harder or stronger for it to, if you impact it again the next time, it will be harder for it to break. And so if you are lifting 20 kgs, you now need to lift 25 kgs for you to break those pieces of tissue again for it to continue. You see? So there is pain in exercising.
BDSM pushes those boundaries because this is harm. Yeah, this is harm that is occurring to the person, but they are doing it to themselves. So I have to bring in the element of consent. When something is consensual and the harm that we are considering is not extreme, because we've had instances where somebody was choked to death. You see, now that is an extreme. So if we establish those safeguards, as she's said, the safe words and what have you, then we can ensure that people don't cross the line, that the harm is not extreme. Because if we try to chaperone or to outlaw every harmful idea, no matter how mundane that harm is, then we'll not allow anything to happen. We'll become an intolerant society. So my view on BDSM, on masochism, is as long as it's well defined, people understand their limits and they use safe words, there's consent in it, then I see no problem there, because the harm, to me, the magnitude of harm is not significant enough. So this now brings me to what I believe should be considered when not tolerating certain ideas, when drawing the line. For the most part, we should allow ideas to flourish. As we said previously, it's a good thing. However, if it causes harm, the harm is immediate and it has significant effects on the person. They do not willingly approve of it. They've not consented to it. It's causing immediate harm to them, and it has high magnitude. Then it should be outlawed. So what are the examples that come to mind? Female genital mutilation. Often the victims of this don't want to participate in it. They don't consent to it. The harm that results is significant and it is immediate because it impairs their sexual life forever. Another one, of course, is terrorism or cult deaths, either cult deaths or deaths or harm that can occur, maybe beating people up or causing something physical on them. I think that should be outlawed. And when this occurs in the religious sphere, I don't support completely shutting down that religion. What should be outlawed is that aspect, that harmful idea only, not the entire faith, because not all of Islam adheres to apostasy laws or blasphemy laws or any other harmful ideas. So yes, I think we shouldn't ban everything wholesale. We need to consider harm. We need to consider the magnitude, the presence of consent, and how immediate it is. That brings me now to what I had asked you guys about: alcohol, banning cigarettes, banning junk food, etc. That one, I don't support banning it. I don't think we need to persuade people to willingly not take it. We need to persuade people don't smoke cigarettes. We need to persuade people not to eat junk food, but we shouldn't ban it because people willingly consume those products. So there's the aspect of consent. There's also the aspect of the harm not being immediate, and it's not even a guarantee. It's not a guarantee that everybody who smokes will suffer from lung cancer or any of the many other health illnesses, health problems that can come from smoking. It's not a guarantee, and it's long-term in nature. It's not immediate. So I think we need to draw the line for tolerance on things that are immediate, that have immediate physical consequences. Thank you. I hope that we will work towards promoting a more tolerant society. Please make sure that you like, subscribe, and follow us for more of this type of content on our channel, Atheist Hangout. Bye.